Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Hispanic American business icons. My name is Lynn Weinstein. I'm a business librarian in the Science and Business Reading Room here at the Library of Congress, and I will be the host for today's session. We'll be delving into stories of remarkable individuals who have overcome challenges, broken barriers, and achieved extraordinary success in a variety of industries. These entrepreneurs have not only built thriving businesses, but have also inspired others to pursue their dreams. We're excited to have you join us for this inspiring journey. This presentation will last for about a half an hour, followed by extra time for questions. We'll allow about 15 minutes. You can submit questions during the session in the chat box. We'll be checking that as we go. If you have any questions after today's presentations, contact us using the Ask a Librarian feature at ask.loc.gov/business. You can use this service to submit a question that will be reviewed by a librarian, usually within 5 business days, and you'll receive a direct response with relevant resources and guidance on using the Library of Congress. My colleague Kelly will be putting the links that I mentioned into the chat as we go along. We're celebrating our 85th anniversary this year in the Adams Building, so feel free to stop by and explore our beautiful Art Deco and Beaux-Arts inspired research center if you're in DC. We have approximately 40,000 reference items in our reading room. You'll need a reader's registration card from the Jefferson or Madison buildings to access our collections. We offer a variety of online resources, including library guides, blogs, and other tools to help you explore our collections from home. If you're considering visiting in person, you can visit the link in the chat to find our research and reference services page at www.loc.gov/RR/. This page provides information about our general and international collections, including our reading room, as well as our special format collections. That would be like maps and prints and photographs. There is a link to information on getting a reader's registration ID card to gain access to our collections. There's also valuable information for preparing for your visit, including hours, maps, and restrictions on personal belongings. Whether you're planning on visiting the library in person or from your armchair, this is a good, quick link to locate things such as finding aids, information about our digital collections and services, as well as video tutorials, which can help you with things like using the library's catalog. We'll be walking through different types of resources available in our collections on Hispanic Americans in business. While this won't be exhaustive, my goal is to give you some idea on the types of resources and types of research you can do with our collections. We'll cover navigating the library's main webpage. We'll take a look at our Inside Adams blog, which is a blog for our Science and Business Reading Room, how to locate our research guides. We'll look in particular at our Hispanic Americans in Business and Entrepreneurship Library Guide, which I developed and we'll be using as a kind of jumping off point for this presentation. I'll do a live demo of our key site. The links are on this slide, and you'll receive a copy of the slides, a recording of the presentation, and a list of all the links within a day after the webinar. We'll start with some important links, beginning with the main page at the Library of Congress. And now I'll share that page with you here. So Here at the main page at the Library of Congress, you'll notice that we have a page here featuring the Heritage Month. And as you scroll down, you'll see that there are links for researchers. And if you click on that researchers link, there's information about planning a research visit. Now, while it recommends making appointments, appointments are not required. There is information here that can link directly to our reading room page. And once again, there's a lot of information that is repetitive on these pages, but that's to help people who might land on different pages. So here's information about our hours of operation, maps, information about personal belongings, a quick link to our research guides, information such as that. Going back to the Library of Congress main page, if you scroll down, you'll see that there is a link to information for planning a visit, a link for our Ask a Librarian page, and a link for research centers. So we're going to go into this research centers page. And as you scroll down, you'll see that once again, we have these quick links on getting started, getting a reader's ID card, our researcher's guide, and information that would be useful if you came in person. Now, here under general collections, we have the Science and Business Reading Room or Research Center's homepage. And if you click here, you'll get to our page. And on the left-hand side, you'll see our hours. Under that is our Ask a Librarian page and our phone number. You can feel free to call us. We do have someone at the reference desk all the time during those hours, and you can talk to someone in person. If you have a complicated question, we'll submit an Ask a Librarian question. There's also quick links for our Inside Adams blog. And you'll see here that we have some of our most recent blogs featured, including a link for this webinar. And you'll see a page, an article that has a picture of Desi Arnaz on the phone there. And if we click here under social media, we'll be directed to the Inside Adams page. And you can search our past issues by clicking on the archives. You can search under this blog, you could search for the name of a person who wrote a blog, or you could search for someone who's highlighted, or for some specific information on a blog that you saw in the past, and you should be able to find information that way. We also have categories here. So you could search just by business. Who doesn't like cookbooks and food? We have a lot of great information there. We have a special category for Heritage Months. And here we also have one for Hispanic American history. So you can see here some of the items that we featured on Hispanic American history in the past. So going back to our, reading room page, I wanted to point out our, under researcher resources, we have this month in business history, which is kind of interesting. It provides information month by month. It highlights some significant people or businesses or things that happened in business history. Under research guides, we have our research guides, and you can, there's a tab for science and a tab for business. So you can click here, business, and you can see here the types of research guides we have sorted alphabetically. And we have so many that I know the Hispanic one is on the second page. And once again, you'll be provided with a page of links so that you can link directly to this Hispanic Americans in Business research guide, which is our jumping off point for what we are going to be looking at today as we look at some historic Hispanic American entrepreneurs. Now, before we dive into more Hispanic Americans in business, I'd like to go over some current statistics with a couple of quizzes. So the first quiz I have is, what percentage of the population identifies as Hispanic or Latino? Please select one of these choices, and we'll see what people's thoughts are. Is it 7%, 12%, 19%, or 24%? And keep in mind that this is from census information, and the census came up with the Hispanic category in 1970, and in 2000, people were allowed to identify themselves as being in more than one category. So what percentage of the population identifies as Hispanic or Latino? And the correct answer is 19%. And that information is from the census. And we do have, in the guide, there is a page on statistics and demographics. And you'll see here we have a lot of print resources, as well as a lot of links to online resources. Stanford University has a lot of great research because they do a lot of information. They have a Latino entrepreneurship initiative that does a lot of great statistics gathering. And then we also have some subscription databases. And keep in mind that some of these resources might be available to you in a local academic or public library. And then we also have some highlighted research guides that are on US Census Connections. And we also have a marketing guide that we want to bring to your attention there. So that is some statistical and demographic information that might be of interest. So I have a second quiz, which is, what percentage of US businesses are Hispanic owned that paid employees? So this excludes one-person businesses. So this would exclude your one-person or sole proprietorship business, like an accountant or bookkeeper or handyman or landscaper or beautician or translator who just is in business by themselves. So what percentage of US businesses that paid employees are Hispanic owned? Is it 7%, 10%, 15%, 17%, or 19%? So the correct answer is 7%. Actually, it's 7.1%. So there are also an additional 4.5 million non-employer Hispanic firms, which would be the sole proprietorship type firms. The top business sectors for Hispanic-owned firms are construction, accommodation and food services, professional services, administrative support, healthcare and social assistance, and retail trade. Now, while the number of Hispanic-owned businesses has increased significantly in recent years, there is still significant potential for growth. Expanding Hispanic business is crucial to the nation's economic strength, and key strategies to support this development include improving access to capital, offering targeted mentorship and training programs, increasing procurement opportunities through government contracts, fostering cultural awareness and support, such as providing language services and promoting cultural understanding. So I want to point out some additional features of this guide. Under entrepreneurship, you'll find out some more details that break down the Hispanic or Latino population. At the Library of Congress, we refer to it as Hispanic because we've used that in our subject headings for a long time. So if you come and you search Latino or Latinx, you won't find anything. So keep that in mind. That'll differ depending on what you're searching. So there's some details about the population, and then we have some specific information on entrepreneurship and businesses under this tab. And then if what we'll spend most of our time in is this biography tab. Note that there are some suggestions for print resources. And once again, you might have these at your local school or academic or public library. Same thing for databases. These biography databases might be featured in a library near you, not just in our library, which you're more than welcome to use if you're local. We'll be spending a lot of time today in looking at our entrepreneurship and brands, but I also have some information broken down by the specific areas or industries of fashion, inventors in STEM, labor and organization, and media, just because there was a lot of content in those areas involving books. And remember, we're general collections book related. So that's why I chose those areas to focus on. So in this area, we've looked at contemporary and historic American entrepreneurs, and I've given a summary of the individuals to better help researchers and students if that's helpful for them. And then in each box, in each of these pages, there'll be a box with additional resources. On this page, you have collective biographies, related books. That might be a cookbook or something like that. Library resources from the Library of Congress, and then external databases. I also just want to point out to you very quickly here one other additional feature of our library guides, which is the Search the Library's catalog page. Here, we sometimes put a lot of thought into looking at our subject headings, because the Library of Congress subject headings will be what you'll mostly see in academic libraries, but they might differ from what you'll see in public libraries. But here you'll be able to click on the subject heading and get a link to our catalog results of the books. So it'll automatically execute a search in our library's catalog, and we'll discuss that a little bit later in the presentation. So, but right now, let's take a moment to hop back out and into our presentation and talk about Desi Arnaz. So, Desi Arnaz was a true pioneer in entertainment. He was born in Cuba, and he fled to Miami with his family during the Cuban Revolution of 1933. After making a name for himself in the New York City club scene as a musician and band leader, he headed to Hollywood. Arnaz is best known for co-creating and starring in I Love Lucy with his wife, Lucille Ball, but his contributions went far beyond acting. He revolutionized TV production by popularizing the multi-camera setup in front of a live TV audience, a method still used today. As an astute businessman, Arnaz secured syndication rights for I Love Lucy and other shows through Desilu Productions, the company he founded with Ball. Later, in 1957, he acquired RKO Studios for $6 million, and a year later, Desilu Productions went public. They offered stock. The company went on to produce iconic shows like Star Trek, Mission Impossible, and The Untouchables. At the Library of Congress, we hold scrapbooks, recordings, and photographs that document Arnaz's remarkable career. We also offer a library guide called Doing Historical Company Research, which can help you explore Desilu Productions or other historical companies. And you can link to the library guides through the Hispanic Americans in Business and Entrepreneurship Library Guide under the Businesses and Industries tab. Next, let's talk about Federico José Ronstadt, a key figure in the development of Tucson, Arizona. A visionary entrepreneur, Ronstadt founded the F. Ronstadt Wagon and Carriage Company, which later became the F. Ronstadt Hardware and Machinery Company, the largest business of its kind in southern Arizona. His company dealt in hardware, blacksmithing, and transportation, and he even owned automobile dealerships. Ronstadt played a major role in improving Tucson's infrastructure, helping to establish the city's first electric streetcar system, which boosted both transportation and commerce. He was also a dedicated community leader and musician, and his legacy extends to his granddaughter, singer Linda Ronstadt, who continues the family's entrepreneurial spirit today. Linda Ronstadt has sold over 100 million records, has recently been featured in a documentary, and has published a cookbook featuring her Mexican roots. Though many urge Federico to enter politics, Ronstadt stayed focused on business and community, leaving a lasting mark on Tucson's cultural and economic landscape. The library holds materials that document his contribution, including this autobiography, as well as books, articles, and maps that highlight his impact on Tucson. Now let's dive into the story of Prudencio Uanue and his wife, Carolina. Their journey is a true testament to perseverance and innovation. Born in Spain, they emigrated first to Puerto Rico and then to New York City, where they eventually founded Goya Foods in 1936, starting with just a small storefront in Manhattan. They originally imported high-quality olives, olive oil, peppers, and other Spanish delicacies, first catering to the growing Hispanic community in New York City and then in the United States. What set Goya apart was their commitment to introducing authentic Hispanic flavors and ingredients to a wider American audience. Thanks to their vision, Latin cuisine became a staple in households across the country. Today, Goya Foods is the largest Hispanic-owned food company in the United States. Under third-generation ownership of the Uanue family, Goya has grown into an international presence, employing over 4,000 people and generating $1.5 billion in sales annually. It's headquartered in Jersey City since 1974. They've expanded significantly in the past 20 years, reaching markets worldwide. Through the library's collections, you can access a wealth of materials on Goya's history, everything from cookbooks, books, and photographs to marketing materials. For those interested in researching private companies like Goya, our Doing Company Research Guide offers strategies and tips for finding the best information, especially when dealing with difficult to find data like that of privately owned firms. Let's now turn to Vicente Martinez Ybor, a pioneering figure in the cigar industry and the founder of Ybor City, a historic neighborhood in Tampa, Florida. Ybor built one of the largest cigar manufacturing operations in the world, attracting thousands of immigrants to work in his factories. This was back when cigars were hand-rolled, a labor-intensive process. In an effort to avoid unionization, Ybor aimed to create a town where workers would feel satisfied enough not to unionize. The establishment of Ybor was transformative for Tampa, turning it into an industrial and cultural center. The city became a melting pot of diverse ethnicities and backgrounds, all drawn together by the cigar industry. Ybor's legacy goes beyond his business success. He also shaped the development of stores, transportation networks, and worker housing, leaving a mark on the city's economic and cultural fabric. Today, Ybor City remains a vital part of Tampa's identity, both economically and culturally. At the Library of Congress, we offer a rich collection of resources on Ybor and Ybor City, including an October entry in our This Month in Business History guide. Our holdings feature books, articles, maps, photographs, a dissertation, and even a sound recording of an interview with a Cuban cigar worker, offering valuable insights into the history and heritage of this unique community. Here are some additional strategies for searching historic individuals and companies. When investigating a historic business person or company, don't overlook local sources like local libraries, historical societies, and digitized newspapers. A fantastic free resource for digitized newspaper content that you can access from home is Chronicling America, which lets you explore historic newspaper pages from 1756 to 1963. You can even search for Spanish language newspapers. Chronicling America is a collaboration between the Library of Congress and the National Endowment of Humanities. If you're looking at lesser known Hispanic American entrepreneurs, a great starting point might be genealogy, because not everyone has a book or an article written about them. I recommend checking out The Hispanic Origins in the United States, A Guide to Local History and Genealogy Sources. This guide is put together by our local history and genealogy group from our main reading room in the Jefferson Building. If you're researching specific places like Tucson or Ybor City, consider checking out our fire maps at the Library of Congress. The Geography and Map Division have extensive collections that are invaluable for business, genealogy, and urban studies research. These maps can show you the names and widths of streets and the size of buildings and what they were made out of. You can also access digitized copies of select Sanborn maps for free through our e-resources page at eresources.loc.gov. So studying here is very interdisciplinary. So you have to use a lot of different resources that are provided by our different research centers. A final tip is to search the library's online catalog through the link on the library's homepage. You can also go directly to catalog.loc.gov. You can always start with a quick search, which is essentially a keyword search. You also have the option to use the browse function and the advanced search. You can also check out the Search the Library's catalog page, which I reviewed earlier. This is on many of our library guides. You can choose the topics that you're interested in from a list of subject headings from the Library of Congress, and then you can click on it and it will automatically execute a search in our catalog. And that will take you to different books. As you've seen today, Hispanic American entrepreneurs have had a profound impact on America's business landscape. Desi Arnaz didn't just entertain, he transformed the TV industry. Federico Ronstadt's enterprises fueled growth in the Southwest. The Uanue family made Goya foods a household name, introducing Latin cuisine to millions. And in Florida, Vicente Martinez Ybor built more than a cigar empire. He created communities. These stories show how Hispanic Americans have shaped business and culture. Their contributions remind us of the importance of diverse voices in driving innovation and progress. As we look to the future, their legacies encourage us to recognize the ongoing influence of Hispanic entrepreneurs in shaping the next chapter of American business. I invite you to explore the Library of Congress's resources to learn more about these remarkable individuals and others who have had an impact on the U.S. business landscape. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I've really appreciated this time to talk to you about Hispanic American entrepreneurs in business. Please feel free to look at the library's event pages for additional opportunities to connect with us through webinars and symposiums. Thank you very much.